Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from New York Community Bank, M&T Bank, AmTrust Title, Customers Bank, Ariel Property Advisors, Capital One Bank, Sterling National Bank, Marks Paneth LLP, Meridian Capital Group. Additional funding has been provided by grants from Amarant Bank, AVR Realty Company, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Briarwood Organization, B6 Real Estate Advisors, CBRE, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Mortgage Lending, Citizens Bank, Collins Building Services, CPEX Real Estate Services, Douglaston Development Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handro Properties Handler Real Estate Organization, Hodges Ward Elliott INC, Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, John Catsimatidis Red Apple Group, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Matone Group, Newmark Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Rockefeller Group, Rosewood Realty Group, RPW Group, SJP Properties, Stonehenge NYC, TD Bank, Terra CRG, the Merengor Family Foundation, and these friends. Bat Yam, Israel, the military, Tel Aviv University. Nah, I'm gonna sell my motorcycle. I'm gonna come to New York City. I'm gonna see what it's like. I like it over here. I'm gonna come back here the next year. Maybe I'll go to NYU. Nah, I'm gonna be a broker. Then I'm gonna be an owner. I'm gonna be an owner of about 4,000 apartments. Even try the office building market. I have my friend Ofer Yardeni, Stonehenge NYC here. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
So tell me about Mom and Dad, how they arrived in Israel. It goes back to 1801, you told me, right?
Yeah, my family arrived in Israel at 1801, but the history of the family from my mother's side, they left Spain at 1492, and they went through the Balkan to Yugoslavia. From Yugoslavia to Haleb, Syria. They stayed there for 200 years. And then to Hebron.
They were wanderers.
They were wanderers, exactly. And they went to Hebron. And from Hebron, they came at 1801 to Jerusalem and stayed in Jerusalem all those years. And that's from my mother's side.
That's Mom's side. Tell me about Dad's side.
My father's side also were very Zionist, very patriotic. They were more religious. They came to Israel in the early 1800s, but they came from Moldova, which was part of Romania or Russia. Depends who conquered the Moldova during the time. So they came to Israel as religious, and they lived in Tzfat, which was the city of the Kabbalah, the Jewish Mystica. And they lived there, and my father and mother met each other when they were in the army.
You said to me your mother was in the Navy, right?
My mother, yes. My mother, first of all, my mother was in the underground fighting against the British. And then when she reached 18, she decided she was the only sister in her family, the only person that decided to go to the army. And she joined the Navy, and that was her first thing in the army.
And so your parents met, how old were they?
My father was 20 and my mother was 18. And they met in the army. My father was my mother commander. And when she arrived at the base, my father looked at the list of the new soldiers that arrived, and he sees Sarah Yardeni. Now, my father's last name was Yardeni too. And he looked at the list and said, "What is my sister doing here?" And he called to see who is Sarah Yardeni, and he fell in love. And that's the story.
Your dad was involved with the tool business?
When after the army,
Right.
my father left the kibbutz and came to live in Tel Aviv, and he worked in machinery and tools, blue collar.
And you were born in 1960.
In Purim Purim I was born in 1960 in Tel Aviv. My family, we lived in Bat Yam. My father, like my mother, was fighting the British in the underground. Then in 1948 he joined the army. 56 he fought in the war. 1967, I remember I was 7 years old. My father went to Six-Day War, and he was part of the group who liberated Jerusalem.
When we got together, you said to me, growing up in Israel was wonderful. You didn't know what you had, but it was a great life.
I had the best childhood and the best growing up. I have two loving parents and an older brother, of course, that went to a military school when he was 16. But I had the best parents that you can ask. My mother is the most influential person to me in my life. She was a Zionist. She was a true lover of the state of Israel. She was a leader. She was very educated. She went to university and she graduated when was not typically a woman studying higher education. And she was the best person that I can have. And my father did everything for his kids. And although we didn't have anything, we had everything. And we had dinner every night together as a family. And we went to the beach every day, living next to the beach. So we never missed anything. We got the first TV when I was 17. It was black and white, one station. And we used to listen to radio. And we got the first phone when I was 16, and 4 families needed to share the line. But we never felt that we are missing. We had a very happy childhood. What do you need as a child?
Right.
You need love, food.
So at 18 you graduated high school, and then you go into the army.
I went to the army.
And the initial time you had an accident?
Yes, I served in one of the units, Golani, that is considered like a Marines. I was there over a year and a half. And I must say that the army was the best thing for me. And I think it's the best thing for kids in Israel.
Gave you great discipline, you said.
Extremely disciplined, but it's also the melting pot of the Israeli society. You have kids from every section in the country getting together, and nobody is being judged by color, race, income, and they all have one mission: to defend and protect Israel. Right. So I served at that unit for a year and a half, and then on one of those exercises I got injured, and I was sent back to the education department. I was spending time with dignitary that came from
like
overseas. When Caspar Weinberger was in Israel, I had the fortune to spend time with him and the wife of then the Prime Minister, Yitzhak Rabin, Leah Rabin, touring the country and making sure he get the vision and to see the way we saw Israel.
When do you start Tel Aviv University?
After my graduation from the army, I went to study history and philosophy at Tel Aviv University. It was 1982.
I told the story about your motorcycle and your first trip to America. Tell me about that.
So while I was studying in the university, my good friend Miri Chabas, she used to travel a lot around the world. And she told me if I would like to join her to trip to the United States. Unfortunately, I didn't have the money. But for her, it was not an issue because she convinced me to sell the only asset I had then, my motorcycle. So we sold the motorcycle. In fact, she sold the motorcycle for me. I got $900, and I came to America with her on a trip that was a changing trip for my life. Coming here, I suddenly saw the high rises in New York City. You can imagine for a guy that grew up in a city that the highest building was a 5-story, coming here and see all the skyscraper, coming here and seeing all the people. It was like the movie Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. It was a completely culture shock. But so I fell in love with the city. I fell in love with the people. And I knew that once I will graduate from Tel Aviv University, I would like to come here and continue my education.
Then you start NYU, and you basically say you thought NYU would be these large classes with a big program, and you were totally surprised.
I thought that NYU will be the show like Animal House. That's the way to study. And I figured that I will come here, study, maybe do my PhD, go back to Israel and teach, and I'll have fun. Unfortunately, I really needed to study and to read the papers every day. So coming to this country, being exposed to the people, being exposed to the city, I quite early realized that my focus was not necessarily on education, but my focus was more about exploring the country.
So how do you decide that you want to become a real estate broker at LBK?
So it was evolving. One, the girl that the reason why I came to the United States other than education was Dominique Gilbert. Her sister was married to Charles Cohen, the developer. And when I met him and I went to see their home in Greenwich, Connecticut, I was stunned, because when you see those homes, for an immigrant, you feel like you are seeing a movie. The only time I saw homes like that was when I saw movies about America. And in addition, every person that I met, most of the people that I met in New York, were involved in real estate. And I saw the lifestyle that they have. And as a single guy, most of the girls that I dated, their parents were in real estate. And I saw the lifestyle, and I saw I learned from them the business. So I was quite fascinated by real estate, and I decided that if it's good for them, it would be good for me.
So LBK.
So LBK, I didn't have capital to buy real estate, and I didn't know anything about real estate. And I met a gentleman, Bruce Rothman, that was a broker at LBK. And he introduced me to the people at LBK, Liza Peary. I had an interview with her. During that time, everybody was looking for foreigners because foreigners were the buyers in New York City. They hired me on the spot, and I became a real estate broker, of which was the best thing that I did during that time for my career. Being a real estate broker gave me the ability to meet thousands of people and walk with hundreds of people those buildings. If you think about, I walked with Steve Ross, I walked with Harry Macklow, Resnick, Larry Silverstein, Norman Sterner, Steve Green. I walked with all the giants, and I saw how they saw the real estate. And I quite early learned from each one of them what they were looking and how they will position a building. So it was the best school that I could have.
In addition to being the best school, it was the best opportunity to meet this woman by the name of Sherry, right, at LBK?
Absolutely, and that's the second woman that had the most influence on my life. It's my wife. Sherry, my wife, just finished the University of Maryland. She came to work at the listing department, and during that time, nothing was computerized. And she had to call all the landlord in order to get listings. And I saw that beautiful girl, young, smiling, beautiful eyes, always cheerful, always full of energy.
How did you and Sherry get in this movie that we have a picture of?
So it was by default, like a lot of things that happened to us in our life. We were walking on the street, and somebody came and asked to interview us and ask us about New York. And me being very bullish on New York, I gave a speech why I think New York is the best place to be. And I forgot about it until 6 months ago when Will Blodgett and some of the friends saw a documentary again about New York and sent us, I think it's New York 1987.
You and Sherry got married in what, 1989?
July 22nd, 1989. So which will make us 30 years marriage this July.
Now, you said the brokerage business was good and bad, and because it took you time to get your first sale, and you borrowed money from friends, you said.
Yes, it was a blessing that it took me a long time to get my first deal, because I learned how to deal with a lot of rejection and a lot of failure. And I think that those guys that were very successful at the beginning are not in the business. I didn't have money. I had to borrow money. And friends from Israel sent me money. Another dear friend of mine, Howard Kirsch, gave me $3,000. So people bet on me, and I borrowed money from people. I lived a beautiful life in New York. I ate pizza for breakfast, pizza for lunch, and 2 pizzas for dinner. And I was the happiest guy in the world. By borrowing the money, I was able to keep a certain lifestyle. And after a year and a half, when I sold my first building, not only I was able to return all the money, I was able to buy even an engagement ring, propose to my wife, and then get married.
Your first building was acquired on 72nd Street because there was a Radio Shack, right?
The early 90s were the worst time in the real estate for many, many owners. Not necessarily for the brokers, because our job was to transfer the wealth from one family to another. There were a lot of transactions, value declined, and there were plenty of opportunities. As a very conservative guy, I realized that I should stick to the residential, not to the office, because I saw that the crisis in the office was a lot larger than the residential. When the opportunity to buy that note at 240 West 72nd, I had to put $20,000 down on a loan that was $2 million, and I bought it for $450,000. So without any hesitation, I put the 20.
Savings.
I took all my money that I had in my bank. I told my wife, honey, I'm doing it.
I'm betting the house.
I'm betting the house. Early on, she supported me, which she still supports me. I bet the entire house, and I was able to turn that deal around and finish the foreclosure. Nat Tannen was my attorney, brilliant gentleman, and we finished the foreclosure. I remember the first night when we finished the foreclosure and took possession, I slept in the building on the 2nd floor because I was concerned that the previous owner will come and try to take possession of the vacancy. And my wife brought me lunch there. After, I remember sleeping there. I hired bodyguards to watch the building. And a few years later, I sold my first building for $3,150,000, which was a great success.
But one of the great successes that you had was your favorite, the Ritz in Times Square.
Yeah, I think that the Ritz was the building that really put me on the map, because I started to buy at the early mid-90s, and I bought small buildings, and I bought some buildings on 56 and 9 for $5 million, another one on 15th Street for $6 million. But when the Ritz came, the opportunity, that was a building with 479 units, a mortgage of 151 in Times Square, and I bought the note for $77 million. And for a guy like me that came from $600 from Israel a few years earlier, to be able to buy something for $77 million was a dream come true. And that event really elevated me in several ways. One, made me one of the players in New York City, because in 1995, 1996, nobody was buying, rarely. The market was horrendous. But I think on a personal growth, it was something very important for me, because it shows me that I can do it, that I don't need just to concentrate on the small deals, that if I see an opportunity, people will believe in me and will give me the capital. So that was a huge boost for me on a personal level. I built my management team around this building, and business really took off after that.
Right, and as you were saying to me when we got together, you've had some good partners, both in equity, debt, and everyone, you know, specifically the Canadians.
You know, they have a cliche where they say that there is no bad deal, it's only a bad partner. And it's true, because I had an amazing partners. I met my partners, Val Wagner, which was affiliated with Caisse de Depot, in 1992 in Boca Raton Beach Club in Florida. And later on, Caisse de Depot invested with us early on in the mid-90s, and they have been my partners for over 24 years, and we bought with them billions of dollars worth of real estate. So a lot of our success is as a result of the people at Caisse de Depot. There was a gentleman, André Collin, that was in charge of the acquisition, and we did numerous deals together.
I mean, you had the same haircut.
Now we have the same haircut, yes.
Right.
But I don't think he lost the hair because of negotiations with me. I think it's natural.
I didn't say you did.
But the Canadian partner have been amazing. Later on in 2005, PSP, Public Sector Pension Fund, joined us on the acquisition of the Olivia in Stonehenge Village. So the Canadians have been huge supporter of Stonehenge, and we are very grateful.
And you also have had some good American partners.
We had fabulous partners, and we still have. In 2012, we started to buy with SL Green. We bought close to $1 billion worth of multifamily in several transactions. With BlackRock, we purchased a property or recapitalized a property, and we are currently recapitalizing another one. We are doing business with Carlyle from November until hopefully by the end of the month we'll close our second deal with Carlyle. The first one was in Long Island, where they asked us to manage it in Long Island City, of which I'm very, very happy with the result that we are doing there. And we are closing on another transaction, recapitalization of the Ritz. AEW joined us later on, and I was also able to sell a minority interest at Stonehenge to Macquarie, the investment bank of Australia. So with all those institutional partners, they are helping us to elevate the platform.
Let's talk about May 13th, 2013. The best day of your life and the worst day of your life.
I will start by saying it was the worst day of my life. That was the beginning, which translates to be the best day. And quite often people ask, how it can it be the worst and the best? So on May 13, I was diagnosed with cancer, throat cancer, stage 3. I was not sick. I felt fantastic. And on a routine checkup, I was told that I have to go for chemo and radiation. And the doctor told me that I would live. But not really understanding the implication, I remember going out, looking at the sky, and I said, here I am surrendering. Here I am, a guy that was always so much in control about his business, thought that I was in control about his business, about his life, as a father, supporter, as a friend, and as a guy that ran a business. I realized early on that I need to release, and I need to let go, and I need to be dependent on other people. And I realized later on that you found unconditional love from your wife, from your kids, from your friends, from the nurses. And I realized how beautiful life can be. And everybody was reaching out to me. So with love and help. So I was able to take the worst part of the cancer, get the energy, overcome all those battles, and see how beautiful life is. I was able to see the butterflies, Michael. For the first time, I think, in 20 years, I saw the butterflies. And I realized that that's a turning point in my life and made me a better father, husband, friend, employee, partner, human being. And I was able to come back better than before and build my company to what it is now. And I'm really looking for the next 50 years.
So let's talk about the family. 30 years married to Sherry in a couple of months.
Yes.
Tell me about the...
So one about my wife, she is the cornerstone of my life. She supported me and support me with my good ideas, my crazy ideas, and I couldn't do anything without her. I have 3 great kids, of which I am proud of each one of them. Max is going to be 27. He is a graduate from NYU Law. He works at Fried Frank in the real estate department. My other son, Josh, is going to be 24. He works for my dear friend Andre Colin and the team at Lone Star. He is in Miami. And Olivia is the joy of my life. She's 20 years old. The most independent human being. She's now at NYU. She's studying psychology. Maybe she's evaluating me and my wife every day, but she is the most independent, clear thinker and visionary. And I'm very proud of all my kids.
And more important, I'm very proud to know you. And thanks for being here today.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Love you too.